Saturday. You know, it's Expression Session Saturday. Today is the day for you to express yourself and talk about what you feel, man. Chime in. Tell me how your week has went. Tell me how your week has went. Tell me if anybody on your job has gotten on your nerves. Tell me if you learned anything new at your job. It's something that you learned today, Saturday, expression session.
Show up to blow up.
Man, I just found out that my Michigan Wolverines got the week off. No football this week for the Wolverines. How we got a break already in week 3? How we got a break already in week 3? The way we struggled our first 2 games of the season, we probably could use a break, but we don't need a break. But on this expression session Saturday, today I don't want to talk about breaks. Today I want to talk about that F word, that freedom word, or that fear word. A lot of us talking about wanting freedom and having freedom, but a lot of us have fear of having true freedom. Freedom to move about, freedom to live the life that you say you want to live, freedom to take the chances in life that you want to take, freedom to raise your kids the way you think is right, freedom to orchestrate your life the way that you see is right. But we have fear of that. Why do we have fear of that? We have fear of that based on what someone else tells us that we're capable of. I had a fear of high school. I had a fear of school, period, in general, because people told me I wasn't smart enough. But guess what happened? I completed school. I completed high school. I completed college. I completed them late, but I completed them. But I had a fear of those things in the beginning. So today I want to get into a little bit of fear, and a little bit of freedom. And I would like it if you guys would freely express yourself on this session of Expression Sessions with Mr. P.I.E.N. and tell me some of your fears and how do you get past those fears to help you get to the freedom that you say you want. So the other day I was reading my book, the Motivational Manifesto by Brendan Burchard, for the second or third time. And I'm on the 3rd chapter, and something amazed me in the second reading of it, or third reading anyhow. The beginning of the chapter says the dominant motives of humankind involve either freedom or fear. There are no other pathways in our psychology. One demands engagement with our true self and ambitions and inevitably leads to independence, growth, happiness, and transcendence. The other causes us to skirt around challenges, avoiding struggle as much as possible, despite struggle often being the very thing required for growth. Hey, Unc, I completely understand that, Uncle Tony. To be raised as who you are, and I take my hat off to you because you definitely are who you are. Most of the people in our family are, to a certain degree. I respect it. And I knew I grew up that way, trying to be or attempting to be who I wanted to be or who I was. But, of course, who I wanted to be or what I was discovering on my own, people thought it wasn't the right thing to do. And I had a fear of that. But I've always admired you, Unc. And I take my hat off to you because you've always lived life on your terms, even since I was a kid. So, with that being said, salute. Continue to live your life the way you do. What's going on, Trey? But again, it causes us to skirt around, avoid struggle. That's what fear does to most of us. Fear stops you from attempting anything new. And what are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? I wear this necklace almost every day, and I know you really can't see it up close and personal. But on the back it says fear, and on the front is hieroglyphics. It says fear also, which for me stands for face everything and rise. And when I say face everything and rise, any of your shortcomings that you encounter in life, anything that may be bothering you or may be hindering you, anything that's going to help you grow is probably going to start out somewhat fearful. Think about it when you go swimming for the first time. Most people are like, oh, I'm not getting in the pool. I don't know how to swim. Why? Because they're afraid of drowning. But when you learn how to swim, that freedom you have of going to the pool parties, jumping in the deep end, or playing with all your friends when you're younger, or playing with the girls when you're older, to just be in the water and know that if something happens, you can handle yourself. That's a freedom that can't be explained. I am not a good swimmer. I don't know how to swim, or I take that back. I can swim, but I can't do the whole act of stopping and treading water to keep myself in position. So once I'm out of air and I no longer can swim, I no longer can do the act of swimming, I pretty much sink to the bottom. And I used to have a fear of getting in the water, getting in the ocean when I would be deployed, and I would have a fear of drowning. But the moment I got in that water and I just started taking the chance over myself, and I realized that the only way I was going to drown if I did absolutely nothing for me, then it gave me a freedom. So when I was in Egypt in 2004 and 2015, I would go out snorkeling on a regular basis, knowing that I couldn't swim. But the freedom of knowing that I could handle myself in certain feet of water, or the certain level of how aggressive the waves was, that freedom that it provided me allowed me to explore something else in life. It allowed me to explore a different part of me. It showed me that no matter what obstacles or challenges that you face, as long as you face that fear, as long as you look at what's on the other side of that fear, then you will have the freedom to move forward. You have to. You must. You must face your fears daily. It doesn't stop. This is a day-by-day process. I did a speech yesterday in my Toastmasters class, and I called it "It Happens." Well, actually, the speech was, what do you do? The question was, how do you handle it? Because it happens. And it happened to me last Tuesday. I'm dog sitting ghosts. And I woke up about 6 a.m., 5 a.m. to go to the restroom, and I smelled this awful smell. And I'm like, man, what in the hell is that? Like, what is that? And I thought to myself, oh, no, she didn't. I know she didn't do it. I think she did. And yes, she did. Ghost, the all-white Alaskan husky that I've been dog sitting for the last week. She did it. She did it. She took a shit right in the middle of my hallway. And God knows I didn't want a dog for two reasons. I didn't want the responsibility, and I definitely didn't want to be following around no dog picking up his shit. I don't have babies anymore. I didn't want to do that. But when it happened, when it hit the fan, I had a choice to make. And what was my real reason for not wanting to clean up dog shit? Like, what was my real reason? To be honest, I had a fear of getting shit all over my hands. I didn't want to feel that in my hand. And I know you're like, really, we going there talking about this? I'm making the point. I didn't want to feel that in my hand. I didn't want to deal with that. The fear of actually getting it on myself, it blocked me in. It didn't allow me to have the freedom to have a dog. But once I actually had to deal with it, once I had to face it, once it was in my hand, once my fears confronted me, the fear of having to pick up this dog poop and possibly get it on my hands, once I overcame that and I picked up the dog poop, then I was freed from it. So now when I go out, take the dog for a walk, and she take a poop, then I don't have a problem picking it up. If I wake up in the morning and she hasn't used the bathroom and where she's being trained to use the bathroom, I have no problem picking it up. When you face your fears is when your life begin to change. When you face your fears is when your life begin to change. Frank Knight, thank you, sir. Face fear and conquer it. Absolutely. I tell myself, face everything and rise. That's what fear means to me. Face everything and rise. You're listening to a guy who was a high school dropout. My report card, my transcript read fudda-da-da. For y'all who don't know what fudda-da-da stands for all F's, D's, and F's. That's what fudda-da-da stands for. You talking to a guy who was supposed to graduate, listening to a guy who was supposed to graduate in 95. I didn't officially get a high school diploma until 1999. Why? I feared going back into school because I done so horrible. I listened to people tell me I wasn't smart. But when I went back in 99 and I earned my high school diploma, it gave me a freedom to know that I could do more. When I started taking college classes in 2015, it gave me a freedom to know that I am smart enough to do college. Nobody's smarter than me. People just work harder than me. Some people, they learn how to handle their fears better than you learn how to handle your fears. That's how they have the freedom that they have. Nobody's immune to it. We all fear something, but it's not the fear that's the issue. The issue is, what do you do with the fear that's in your life? What do you do when the shit happens? What do you do when it happens? You have a fear of being alone if your significant other leaves. You have a fear of maybe being rejected by friends. You have a fear of maybe not wearing a certain outfit to the club because of what people gonna say. But when you tap into all those things that make you happy, when you tap into all those things that bring you joy, when you tap into all those things that you feared and you step on the other side of your fear to your freedoms, then you have nothing but peace. You must face your fears daily. The oddest, man, listen to me, Frank. That quote, and I mess it up all the time. Our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we're powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that we fear the most. Frank, my brother, I'm 100% there with you in the same spot. I don't even have a fear of failure. I have a fear of success. Because failure comes so easy, I think, for most people. Living average and being average comes so easy to most of us. But that fear of success, that fear of, what if I continue to get on here every Saturday and do expression sessions with Mr. P.I.E.N? What if I continue to push myself to do more live videos on Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat, TikTok? What if I push myself to sit down and read and study and research psychologists, authors, speakers, and humans in general? What if I really just begin to believe that I am one of the top speakers in the world, and the words that I put out there into the world, and the way that God uses me, and the way that Buddha or Allah uses you? What if all those things that you fear actually became successful, Ethan? What happens then when you become successful? What happens then when you actually start to use your gift, whatever your gift may be, to change lives? See, fear will keep you shackled and bonded, and it will keep you trapped into a lifestyle that you say you don't want. You claim that you want freedom, but in order to get freedom, we must face our fears. Fear stands for face everything and rise. Not some things, but you may face all things. I had to. This isn't always comfortable to get on here every Saturday, knowing that I don't have the strongest vocabulary, knowing that my enunciation is always not correct, knowing that sometimes I feel like I stutter just like now, knowing that sometimes I get stuck on a word or a thought or an idea. That's a fear. But the freedom to blow up, and knowing that as long as I keep doing this every Saturday, the more I do this every day, the more I'm freely allowing myself to grow. The more you activate your greatness, the more you just be you, the more you promote yourself, sell yourself, and push yourself to face all your fears, then you get to your freedom. Trust me, you heard me read it in the book earlier from the Brendan Burchard book, The Motivational Manifesto. One demands engagement with our true self and ambitions. That's your freedom. You got to truly engage yourself. What are you ambitious about? Fears don't allow you to do that. The other causes us to skirt around challenges and avoid struggle. You avoid things that help you grow when you fear them. You avoid things that help you grow when you fear them. Hey, what's going on, Meg? From my speech class. How you doing? Thanks for joining in on my Instagram live. Excuse me. On this expression session Saturday, we talking about fear. We talking about freedom. What does freedom look like for you, and what fears are you allowing to keep you from the freedom that you want? See, it's nothing or no one in this life that can stop you from having the life that you want to have. The only thing that stops you is the fear that you have. But I'm going to help you today. I'm going to tell you how you get past those fears. How do you start freely living your life for you and for the life that you want? You must start by facing those fears. How do you face those fears? You AYG. You activate your greatness. You must activate your greatness. How do you activate your greatness? That's for you really to discover. But one thing I'll tell you, in order to activate your greatness, you must know that you have greatness in you. I don't know who calling me from Royal Oak. No, not right now. I'm working over here. I got a fear of answering that phone right now. I don't know who it is. Anybody besides me don't answer unknown numbers. If you're not saved in my phone, I'm not answering it unless I feel something. But You must face everything and rise. You must activate your greatness. You have to. The fear of failure, the fear of failure destroys 60% of people or more in America. The fear of failure. And what are you fearing? Like, failure is the only process to success. If you never fail at anything, how can you expect to grow? If you never fail at anything, how can you expect to grow anywhere? How? Everyone that we see, everyone that we watch, from Michael Jordan to LeBron James to Oprah Winfrey to the postal worker in your neighborhood, to your mother, to your father, everyone that you see has failed at something. No one, absolutely no one, has made it to their level of success without failing. And I'm pretty sure that they all had a fear when they started out in the beginning. We get wrapped up and we say things like, oh, they have a team. They have people that work for them. They have a publicist. They have sound engineers. When you think about people that do music. But they didn't always have that. They didn't always believe in themselves. They often had fears of putting their music out. Everyone has a fear of something, but it's the people that face their fear, that truly get the freedom, that truly succeed, is that make it in life. We talking about two simple things, fear and freedom. You have to share this video with somebody because they need to understand the importance of your fear is robbing you of the life that you say you want. Your fear is robbing you of the freedom that God has given you. Your fear is robbing you of the freedom that Buddha or Allah has given you. It's your fears. You control that. Fear only lives in the mind if you allow it to. I'm 42 years old. Now I'm going to be honest with you. Up until the point I was probably 37 and on a bad day, still now to this day, I have a fear of Nightmare on Elm Street and Freddy Krueger. I'm just going to be real. When I first seen that movie at 8 or 9 years old or whenever it came out, I was good with scary movies. I done watched all the Friday the 13th, the Halloween, all those little movies. I watched them all. None of them really did anything to me. The reason I feared Nightmare on Elm Street is it haunts you in your dreams. It haunts you in your dreams, and then you bring whatever is in your dream into reality. But when I got older, I realized, just like I think about negative things from Nightmare on Elm Street, whatever I dream of positive comes to reality too. That comes to reality too. But the more I start to realize that Nightmare on Elm Street, man, it's just a movie. Your spouse walking out on you, I'm sorry, man. It's just the spouse walking out. You still can get to the freedom that you want. Your job firing you and you having a fear of how I'm going to pay my bills, how I'm going to make it. It's just a job. You can get another job. Don't allow your fears to stop you from getting the freedom that you say you want. Don't allow your fears to stop you from getting the freedom that you say you want. Please, somebody share this video. Send me a message. Tell me, what do you fear and how do you get over your fears? How can I help you get over your fears? It's simple things that you can do. Start promoting yourself to yourself. Start selling yourself to yourself. Start pushing yourself to be great. Fear only lives in the mind for as long as you allow it. And here's the kicker. Everything that's great, everything that's productive on the other side of your life is going to be, you're going to have to go through your fears in order to get to it. You're going to have to go through your fears in order to get to it. Activate your greatness, manifest destiny. We're on a new era. The leaders of the new future will have characteristics that were once frowned upon. Absolutely. Enlighten me more when you say characteristics that were once frowned upon. I think as you're typing, I'll respond to that, Frank. I think one of the things that one of the characteristics that most people will fear is the honesty characteristic. And what do I mean by the honesty characteristic? People being honest and free with who they are, not living their life for their parents, not living their life for their spouse. See, true honesty and transparency is a characteristic that most people don't exhibit. True honesty and characteristics is something that most people don't exhibit. And I think in the future, there's a friend of mine who I go to my Toastmasters group with, and we talk about how now this is the time. This is the time for the people such as myself, or the people that's positive speaking, or the people that want to transfer good energy. This is the time that the people who had fear of being themselves will start to empower and encourage everyone else to be themselves and explore those characteristics that will truly allow them to have the freedom that they want. It's simple. My message is simple and straight to the point. If your life sucks, it's probably your fault. If you fear something and you never grow and you never challenge yourself to do anything, it's probably your fault. It's probably your fault. Your freedom lies on the other side of your fears. Your freedom lies on the other side of your fears. You got to activate your greatness. I've had a ton of fears in my life. When I went to Iraq the first time in my life, I had been in the military for almost 8 years. I don't know, 6, 7 years. I don't remember. I had been in the military almost 6 or 7 years, and I trained, and I was proficient in my training. But I still had a fear of going to Iraq for the first time. But the moment that I decided to tell myself, hey, whatever happens, happens, and you can't control it, but you can just put the best foot forward and be the best version of you. It gave me an ease. It relieved the weight of the world on my shoulders. It relieved the burden that I had of fearing that I was going to die. It relieved all that, and it allowed me to freely do my job in Iraq, which made me very successful with my team. What do you fear, and why do you fear it is a question that you need to ask yourself. Let's go there. What do you fear, and why do you fear it? Open-mindedness. The more to experiment and try different ways, the quiet guy's input is just as much needed to be heard, and the content and confident, strong spoken. Absolutely, Frank. That is absolutely. You have to have open-mindedness. People fear Kanye West. I like Kanye West. I love that he's a free thinker, because everybody was created in this world with their own unique and individual gift, and your gift isn't always going to line up with what other people feel. So we fear exploring our gifts. We fear getting our freedom based on what someone else say. You mean to tell me you're going to spend half of your life being perfect for an imperfect world of people? No, that's crazy. You have no reason to be afraid of living your life. Fear stands for face everything and rise. In this book that I'm reading, the Motivational Manifesto, Brendan Burchard talks about personal freedom, and he says it. Humankind's main motivation is to seek and experience personal freedom. Freedom, what is actually freedom? When you look at the definition of freedom, it says the power or right to act, speak, or think as one wants without hindrance or restraint. How many of y'all can say that you actually free? Like, I know we live in America and they say land of the free, home of the brave, but most of us don't believe that we truly have freedom. The freedom to go into our job and tell our boss, I quit today. The freedom to truly trust God and to believe that he'll give you a thought and an idea to help you earn the finances that you need. You have a fear of that. You have a fear of walking out of your job because you don't know what you're going to do, but you say you want the freedom to be able to get up, go to work when you want to go to work, make the type of money you want to make, but you have a fear of tapping into your gift or finding out what your purpose is so you can live life on your terms. See, I don't want a ton of money for the things that I can buy. And trust me, I do want to earn more money. I want money for the freedom that it provides. I used the quote last week from Warren Buffett. Rich people invest in time, poor people invest in money. See, when rich people invest their money into someone else, they're using their money to buy back their time. And most of us have a fear of taking charge of our time, so we say things like there isn't enough time. No, there's plenty of time. There's 24 hours in a day for everyone, 86,400 seconds in a week. The reason you don't have freedom of time movement is because you have a fear of taking charge of your time. You have a fear of taking charge of your time. You want to lose weight. You want to gain weight. You want to purchase a home. You want to purchase a car. If you face those fears and you allow yourself to be free and go after what you want and what you say you believe in, you'll have all those things. Can you turn me down a little bit in the music? Just a tad bit. Just a tad. It seems like it's getting a little bit louder, but it's, I mean, you know, I don't know how it's going to come out on the playback. Frank, what you got open? Say that again. Miko.mo. Thank you, Ms. Miko. If I'm not mistaken, I believe I met you and your name could be Monique. No, I'm messing that up. I met you today while I was out doing Uber this morning. It was one of my Uber rides, and we had a great conversation. So I thank you for the thumbs up. I thank you for the follow. I thank you for tuning in. That we do this every Saturday at 6 p.m. expression sessions where we just get on and we express ourselves, and I attempt to inspire you to do whatever it is you love by giving you real, raw, honest facts, statements, my opinion, stories, experiences that I've been through, things that help me grow. And today we're talking about fear, and we're talking about freedom, and how most of us will never truly live free because we have a fear of being free. What does freedom even look like to you? What does freedom even mean to you? When somebody says that I want to be free, what does that mean to you? Like, when I say I want to be free, I want to be free in the sense of I truly can wake up whenever I choose to wake up and go to bed whenever I choose to go to bed, where I can do the type of work that I enjoy and live a comfortable lifestyle with the finances that I receive based on the life that I want. Like, that's freedom for me. That's true freedom for me. It's not about a big house. It's not about a couple of cars. It's not about belonging to a golf club. It's not about wearing, I don't even know what the latest fashion is, wearing the latest fashion and going to see a bunch of shows. That's not freedom for me. Freedom for me is truly living my life on my terms, monetarily, spiritually, emotionally, physically, living life on my terms and being comfortable enough to with myself, and no matter what set I'm in, to be okay with who I am, whether it's a business setting, whether I'm in the hood. I want to be free enough to be comfortable who I am. Most of us fear who we really are, so we change ourselves in every set that we in every clique that we in. When we go to work, we one way. When we go to school, we're another way. When we hang around our parents, we're a certain way. Most of us fear living life on our terms because someone told you that living life on your terms was the wrong thing to do. That's not freedom. That's bondage. That's a new form of slavery to me. That's mental slavery and bondage when you're not living life on your terms. It has two things that you can do with it. When you look at fear, you avoid and struggle as much as possible, or it leads to weakness, conformity, and frequent regret. That's what fear does for you. Thank you for opening the positive windows to vent out the stale, stagnant air, contaminated majority of online outlets and social networks. Thank you, Frank. I appreciate that, man. That's my only mission in life, is to share my story, the things that I went through, and help to inspire somebody else. My story is going to be raw. They're going to be in your face. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to have any fear about what somebody think. People going to talk about you all the days of your life. But the moment you start worrying about what people say, that's the moment you lose. That's the moment you miss out on freedom. That's the moment you miss out on freely living your life. I think about guys. You think about the Nipsey Hussles, the Kanye West, the Jay-Z's, the Beyonce. You think about the Kevin Gates. You think about the Gucci Mane. You think about the Bob Proctors. You think about the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Like, all these guys may have feared something, but in order for them to get freedom and live life on their terms, the life that we see them living now, they had to face all their fears. Kevin Hart talks about being booed off stage at the Comedy Factory, but continuing to go back every week. Come on, man. You're not the only one that deal with a little struggle. You're not the only one that deal with a little fear. You're not the only one that deal with a little pain. And life shit gonna happen. I don't know if you've been tuned in since the beginning, but Ghost, she shitted on my floor, the Alaskan White Husky. Shit happened. I had a fear of cleaning up dog poop only because I ain't want to get dog poop on my hand. My youngest daughter is 10. I stopped changing diapers a long time ago. I didn't want to deal with that. But the moment that she let it happen on my floor, I had to face my fear and I had to go out there and I had to clean it up. Guess what it did? It freed me now. Anytime she go to the bathroom on the floor, I go clean it up. Dre, what's going on, man? I ain't talked to you in a long time. I cleaned it up. You fearing you fearing life, living life on your terms based off of what other people say. One of my brother-in-laws, I like to call him, just tuned in, Dre, and I learned a lot from him in the 2 years that I was back in Michigan. And when it came to things about fear and freedom, Dre is very savvy, businessman, can be in the streets if he wants to. And one thing I learned about him real fast, that he don't care about what nobody thinking about him. He gonna do what he needs to do on his terms to make life more free for him, more productive from him. And being around Dre during those 2 years that I was back in Michigan, babe, it helped me to discover myself. It was challenging. As a man, it challenges some things that I thought. And then as a little boy, it made me upset sometimes that he challenged me in that way. But I have to be honest, like, it freed me up for who I am. It freed me up to do this. Like, it freed me up to go back to school. It freed me up to stop thinking about what other people would thought. Like, most people that tell you what you can't do is because they have a fear of doing it themselves. Most people tell you you can't do something because they either, one, failed at it, two, never tried it, or three, and mainly most of the time, they have a fear of doing it for themselves, so they tell you that it won't work. Here's the thing. If you listen to what most people say instead of listening to what you feel in your heart, you're the fool, not them. You're foolish for listening to what someone else tells you is best for your life. If you have a fear of living a life and developing the life that you say you want, you will never be free. You will never be free. People told me I couldn't get back with my wife. I remember my cousin told me, like, yo, why are you even calling her? She living her life now. She was somebody else. You left. You should go ahead and you should just live your life. You wanted to be out. Like, if I would have took on what she said because she feared that I couldn't be back with my wife, she thought it wasn't going to work out. If I would have listened to what she said, I would have never attempted to talk to my wife again so we can be back together. I faced my fears. I talked to her. Now I'm freely living my life. She knows everything about me, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm transparent with her just like I'm transparent on this camera. It allowed me to have this freedom. See, you worried about what other people gonna say. You worried about what other people gonna do. You worried about who gonna laugh and point the finger at you. You worried about, you fear all these things, and that's why you never have freedom in your life. Stop being a sucker for other people in your life. Start learning to like yourself a little bit. Start promoting yourself a little bit. Start pushing yourself just a little bit. Show up to blow up. You're not going to be perfect overnight. You got to activate your greatness. Failure is part of the process to success. But the moment you face those failures, the moment you keep going forward in those failures, then the freedom of knowing that you can do it, it'll shine through. It'll come through. Please, man, share this video. What do you fear? And how do you get over your fears? What does freedom look like for you? How are you putting plans in place to have the free life that you say you want? In the Army, we used to say say freedom isn't free, and I tend to disagree because I know freedom is won from the barrel of a gun. That was one of the cadence we used to sing. And I think even in America, when you free, you truly aren't free because most of us aren't living life on our terms. You have opportunity. You definitely have opportunity, land of the free, home of the brave, but the brave go out and take it. The people that really want freedom, they go out and take what they want. They stop letting their fears get in the way. They stop making excuses about why they don't have something, and they go out there and get it. You don't have it because you're afraid to put that hard work in. That's why you don't have it. That's why you don't have it. He who has overcome his fears will truly be free. Aristotle. He who has overcome his fears will truly be free. The moment I joined a speaking class when I was taking my associate's degree, and I stood up in front of the class after people told me, oh, you can speak. You should go do a speaking class. When I did the speaking class, it was terrifying. Because when you have friends that say you can speak or they like your conversation, and you thinking to yourself, oh, man, they just my friends. They probably really don't know. But now I have to go in the classroom, and I have to speak in front of the professor and other students who's probably going to pick me apart and tell me how horrible I was. That's a fear. That's terrifying. That is terrifying. Over 90% of people of America, greatest fear is public speaking. Public speaking is one of the things I'm most comfortable with doing. But the moment I faced that fear and I realized, yo, this isn't that bad. This really isn't that bad. I actually enjoy it. It freed me up when I'm out actually doing Uber. And, you know, if you're doing Uber or Lyft, you talk to everybody from 18 years old to 80 years old, from business and professional to the thugs to the wannabe thugs. You talk to everybody, okay? I'm going to just leave it at that. You talk to everybody. And I talk to everybody. But if I had a fear of what people thought when I'm driving around doing Uber saying I'm a motivational speaker, I'm an inspirational speaker, then I would never be able to inspire anyone. Do you get that? How can you inspire someone else to be great if you're afraid of being great? We like to give advice, but we don't take our own advice. Stop taking advice from people and learn how to take counsel from people. Advice is people who just give you advice of something that they'll never do. Some people give the best advice and never use it for themselves. But counsel, when you take counsel from someone, usually that person has had somewhat of the same fears that you had, and they found a way to overcome those fears. See, they're counseling you because they know how to get through it. Advice is telling you what you should do, but I've never done it before. They're not even freed from the situation. Case in point, your mother or your auntie or your grandma or your girlfriend, she tells you, girl, you should go ahead and leave him. He ain't no good. He ain't no good. He ain't gonna never be right. You taking advice from a woman that has never had a productive relationship. But if you go talk to the lady who's been through some things, who's been through some hard times, and she's seen freedom like my wife have after 18 to 20 years of dealing with my crap, some of y'all that's too long. But you think life is a microwave process society. Don't work like that. But now she truly has a freedom that she desired in her marriage. Because I'm open. I'm honest. So you talking to the person and you getting advice from a person who isn't even living the advice that they're giving you. Seek out a counselor. Seek out someone that's giving you wise counsel. If I wanted counsel in business, I would talk to my brother-in-law, Dre, because he's someone that's running a business. If I wanted counsel in business, I would talk to my little niece, because she's someone who's running a business. But I'm not going to talk to a person who don't have a business and ask them to give me advice on how to run it. That's foolish. Then that's causing you to be more fearful. That's causing you to be more fearful to start your business. Please share this video, man. Somebody needs to understand your life, your freedom, it comes down to what you believe. What fears are you allowing to stop you? Hey, I like that. I like that. You came in right on time. Everybody in the club getting tipsy. Everybody in the club being fearful. If we lack compelling reasons to take action, or if our impulses are fearful or protective, then we tend to stay put. But if we have a strong list of reasons to move forward and we've conditioned our impulses to support freedom, we're more likely to consistently advance our lives. If we lack compelling reason to take action, why are you afraid of what you're afraid of? Why do you do what you do? What do you want on the other side of your fear? And how bad do you want it? What are you willing to do when your fear come into your life? Because it's coming. It is coming. I was watching an interview from Will Smith, and he talked about how his friends invited him to jump out a plane. And in the time, he was like, oh, man, that sounds great. Yeah, I'll jump out a plane. And he was like, after it all was over and I got back to my room and I was thinking to myself, jump out a plane? Why in the hell would I want to jump out a plane? That doesn't make good sense at all. And he talked about how the entire night, 16 hours, 12 hours, 8 hours, before he was actually supposed to jump out of the plane, he was fearful of the results. And he asked, why? Why was I afraid to jump out of a plane? Why was I afraid to do something I hadn't even encountered yet? I was 8, 12, 16 hours away. You 8, 12 weeks away from your test, and you already nervous when you see the syllabus. But Will Smith talks about how when he actually got up there to jump out the plane, the scariest moment is when your foot is on the edge. That is probably the only time you should be fearful, because now it's real. It's about to happen. But once you jump, you have no control over what happens. So you can either live in fear once you jump out of the plane. You can either live in fear once you get in a committed relationship. You can either live in fear once you decide to go back to school for your high school diploma or your college degree. Once you decide to open up a business. You can either live in fear and talk about how everything is going to go wrong, or you can celebrate the freedom to say, yo, I just did this. I jumped out of a plane. Look how beautiful nature is. Worried about the parachute, whether it's going to open or not, you're going to find out when it opens. Yeah, I know that sucks. That's the wrong time to find out. But guess what? That's when you're going to find out. So up until that point, you might as well freely enjoy nature. Up until the point of someone cheating on you in a relationship, you might as well freely enjoy being an active participant in the relationship. We allow our fears to block our blessings. We allow our fears to raise our stress levels. We allow our fears to stop us from progressing in life. And then when you do taste that small amount of freedom, you give all the credit to luck. And so you can never celebrate your freedoms. The hell with luck. Ain't no such thing as luck. No good luck, no bad luck. It's either hard work or not working. To me. Hey, what's going on, Terrell? That's Mr. Terrell. He did my t-shirts for me, and I'm pretty sure I'll have him do some more. Thanks, man. I watch his page and I follow his page. He's doing a lot with graphic design and things like that, man, especially for guys like myself, people that's getting a little bit older, a little bit long in the tooth, as they say, when you hit past that 30-year-old mark, 35. I know 30's the new 20, 40's the new 30, 90's the new 70. I don't know. Call it what you want to call it, right? Until you dead, you still young enough to do whatever you enjoy. But you can be 25 years old and have fear of getting old and not live life. But you have to live it on your terms. You have to live it in your terms. If you lack taking action in something that you believe in, if you allow your fears to continue to control your life isn't going anywhere. Danny, what's going on, man? Danny, did you just have another baby? You and Nicole got another one? I'll check out your Facebook page unless you're a grandfather again. But congratulations either way around, brother. Yeah, I'm just going to call him out like that. That's my friend. I want to know if he had another child. I ain't afraid. Worst he can say is yes or no. I mean, it's on Facebook. If he didn't want me to know, he shouldn't have put it out there. I'm just picking with you, Daddy. My wife over here pulling my leg like I was going to backtrack, like I have a fear of what people think. No, I'm not finna start backtracking. Nah, I already put it out there. I'm free. At least I ask instead of making an assumption. You know what I'm saying? That's all. But listen to me, man. We talking fear. We talking freedom. Share this video. What's going on, Dylan West? Thanks for joining, man. We talking about fear. We talking about freedom and how most of us allow our fears to stop us from having a free life or getting the freedom that we truly deserve in life or that we want in life. Tons and tons and tons and tons. Multitudes of people or bodies are in the grave and never truly live free because of the fears that they have. I had a fear of facing my mother and father about my childhood, but when I faced my mother and father about my childhood, that's when I was able to truly freely grow and learn. I had a fear of that. Why? Why are you afraid to ask the things that you want to know? We said to our kids, there's no dumb questions, but then we become adults and we stop asking questions that'll help us live our life freely. Why? Somebody please tell me why. Why do you allow your fears to stop you from having the freedom that you say you want? Nobody And I get it, they can be smarter than you right now, but nobody's actually really smarter than you. You can learn what other people learn, but you have a fear of embarrassing yourself because you know when you go to learn it in the beginning, you're not going to start out the best. You're going to fail at it. So in order for you to get that freedom, you got to go through that fear, but you don't want to go through that fear because you fear being ridiculed. You fear being made fun of. And then when we have a fear, we usually act out in anger or we blame. And we point the finger about why we not progressing. No, it's not anyone else. It's the fear that you allow to live in your mind that trapped you from living a life that you say you want. Period. Period. I don't know why I joined the Army infantry. I have no idea. I probably should have did something that I could use outside of the military, because once you join the infantry in the military, if you're not special forces, you're not Ranger Bat or something like that, then you really, outside of that, you get a job as a police officer or a security guard. But why did I do that? Because I was a city boy. I grew up in Detroit, Michigan. I had never been in the woods. My father didn't hunt. My father didn't fish. My father wasn't in the military. So I figured I'm going to join the infantry because it's supposed to be the hardest in the military. And I want to push myself and see if I can get past this fear and learn how to survive off the land. That's what I thought. But when I did the military, when I did the infantry, and I realized, yo, this isn't that bad. I actually can do this. It freed me up to allow me to let me know that I can do other things as well. It strengthened me. Your fears will strengthen you. That's funny how that works. God has a purpose for your pain. Like, it's a purpose. The universe has a purpose for your pain. Now, some fear is good fear. I'm not saying you just go jump in the lion's den. You know, you feel that little bit of fear, or if you feel like, okay, maybe it's intuition, maybe it's nerves, and when you're walking down a certain street and you're like, maybe I shouldn't go this way. I'm not talking about that type of fear. I'm talking about the fear of going to school and asking a professor a question you may not know the answer to. I'm talking about going up to the young lady that you may see at work or you see at the club and asking her out. I'm talking about asking your parents, yo, was I addicted to heroin when I was born? Like, I'm talking about those type of fears that'll help you grow. Those are the type of fears I'm talking about you need to face. I'm talking about going back and forth and having a conversation with your parents and asking them why they want you to do certain things. How is it going to benefit you? How is it going to help you? And then I'm talking about freeing yourself up to make that choice to go after what you say you want. That's the only way you get the freedom. Or else you will live most of your life in fear. You wasn't created just to be born, go to school, get a degree, get married, have a couple of kids, retire, and wait to die. That's a poverty mentality. That's living a fearful mentality. That's not living a life of freedom. If you're a spiritual person, that's not God overflowing abundance. You couldn't tell me that that's what that is. That's living out of fear. That's putting God, Buddha, Allah, the universe, that's putting them in a box. So you live in a box of fear, not everybody else have to live in a box of fear. That's why they say you become the company you keep. When you hang with losers, bro, you a loser. When you hang with people that don't want more, you don't want more. The people that want more, they hang around the people that make them uncomfortable. They hang around the people that they fear that they'll be stretched, that they'll be pulled, that they'll be engaged in a way that they was never engaged before. The people that truly want freedom, they face all their fears. The people that truly want freedom, they face all their fears. I listen to Eric Thomas. He talks about going from a GED to a PhD. You don't think it was fearful for him as a young man to show up on the college campus where he said his college classes would start with like 001 when the college class started with 105 or something like that for English? You don't think that was fearful? But look at the freedom that Eric Thomas has now from facing all his fears, facing all his problems, facing all his heartbreak, facing all his worries. Look at the freedom he has now. Look at the freedom that LeBron James has now. We hate on LeBron sometimes for moving around from team to team the way he wants to. You don't think he has a small amount of fear for that in the beginning? Is it going to work out? Will they allow me to do it? But once he done it, then it freed everybody else up to do it. Fear is not just about you. Fear goes deeper than that. If you have a fear in your life and you live your life out of fear, guess what? Your kids will live their life out of fear. And once they start to step outside of that fear to get into their freedom, you and your scary self with your scary thoughts, you'll put a structure and a safety net around them to box them in and to trap them in because you don't believe it can be done. So now your kids wake up and grow up believing that it can't be done because if mom feared it, if dad feared it, then it must be right. Now you just stunted your kids' freedom because you're afraid to be free. All we talking about is fear and freedom. All we talking about is fear and freedom. But I'm going to give you something for that. How do you get past it? How do you get past your fears? There's a number of ways you can do it, but today I want to talk about a few of them. And I know, Jim, I'm supposed to only have 1 point because people have a short attention span. Most of y'all watching this is not watching. Most of y'all listening is just skimming through it. But for those out there that's listening, you want to know how do you get past your fears to your freedom? I'm going to tell you exactly what you do in a few short words. You just be you, whoever you are, whoever you wake up and see yourself to be every morning. You continue to be you and you continue to encourage yourself. You continue to tell yourself that I can do this. Fear only lives in my mind. This is my mind. I control my thoughts. So every day, if you just keep being who you are, who you see yourself to be, if you believe you're a dancer, keep dancing. If you believe you're a singer, keep singing. If you believe you're a writer, keep writing. Just continue to be you and just continue to face your fears. Just keep putting one foot in front of the other, and I promise you, it will get easier. It will get easier. I'm about 2 to 3 months in on doing this live thing, and I don't do live throughout my week. But every week it gets easier. I'm no longer for searching what to say. I'm no longer looking for how to hold a conversation. I'm no longer thinking about how, oh man, I look up in the corner, Facebook Live say I got 3 viewers. On this computer say I got 1 viewer. Where is everybody going? How come people coming or going? Am I saying something that they don't like? I'm over that fear. How did I get over that fear? How did I free myself up? I just be me. I just be me with all my flaws. With my broken English, with my limited vocabulary for some, with my antics and my facial expressions, I just be me. And in order for you to truly get over your fear, to get to your freedom, you're going to have to start just being you. So my first point, if you want to get over your fear, just start being you. I don't know if my mic about to go out. Ain't no light on. Cool. You got to start just being you. And the next thing you must do, you got to activate your greatness. You have to activate your greatness. How do you activate that greatness? How do you activate that greatness? Repetition and consistency. You continue to do it over and over again. I may not seem great to some people on this microphone now. I may not feel great on this microphone right now, but guess what I did by getting on this microphone? I've activated the greatness that lies within inside of me. And if you know anything about repetition and consistency, the more you continue to do something, the better you become at it. So my next point, you activate your greatness. You continue to do it. You continue to believe. You continue to press on. You remind yourself of the 3 P's. What you got for me, Frank? Remind yourself of the 3 P's. Purpose. I like to say POP. Purpose over profit. You PSP, that's my 3. PSP, promote, sell, push yourself. Brings me to my 3rd thing. How do you get past your fear? You promote yourself when you come up to your fear. I told myself, Ethan, I can do college. I am smart enough. If I can sign up, then I can show up and I can pass the class. Purpose, passion, and plan. Purpose, passion, and pain. Remind yourself of the 3 P's. Absolutely. There's a purpose for your life. What are you passionate about? And in order to seek true freedom, you're going to go through some pain. I'll definitely take that all day long, Frank. all day long. Purpose, pain, purpose, passion, and pain. What is your purpose in life? What are you passionate about? And trust and believe me, you're going to go through some pain getting there. So 1, you JBY, just being you. 2, you activate your greatness by continuing to show up. 3, you show up. Show up to blow up. It's not just a statement. It's not just a quote. It's not just a line. You continue to show up. If you show up every day, you have to get better. To me, you're going to blow up. Only a fool, and I'm not calling anyone here a fool, but only a fool, such as I was in high school, will show up every day to a building, to an environment, a place of higher learning, to a job, in a relationship. Only a fool will show up every day and not attempt to learn by activating their greatness. Only a fool will show up every day and not apply themselves. Only a fool will continue to live in his fears and not believe that your freedom is on the other side of your fear. You got to JBY. You got to just be you, because when you learn how to just be you and you discover who you really are, then the people that's giving you advice on what you should be, it won't matter, because you know that's not a part of who you are. You got to AYG. You got to activate your greatness. How do you do that? You keep doing what you believe you great in. How do you know that you great at it? You believe it in your mind by just being you. You might not be the best basketball player right now. Keep playing basketball. Michael Jordan got cut from his high school basketball team. Come on, man. But he activated his greatness. He kept playing basketball. You keep showing up. You show up to blow up. Keep showing up. It doesn't matter how ugly it looks. It doesn't matter how bad it gets. Continue to show up and you'll only get better at it. And last but not least, man, you got to have a funeral. I know. Why did I say have a funeral last? If I want to get past my fear, you know why? Because you need to bury your doubts. You need to bury your fears. You need to bury your anger. You need to bury depression. You need to bury all those things that's holding you back from living a free life. And you need to choose life. You must choose freedom. See, life is a choice. Freedom and fear is a choice. And when you decide to bury your fears, when you have a funeral for your fears and you plant that stuff and you walk past that stuff and you walk through that stuff, then and only then do you get the freedom. Or as Frank said, your purpose, your passion, and your pain. Been through 120 months of federal prison to gain a new perspective of freedom on either side of barbed wire fences, 40-foot concrete walls, and institutions. Frank, man, I take my hat off to you. I got a ton. I've never been locked up for myself, unless you want to count my 5 minutes of traffic violations that I didn't care for, because I have a fear of not having freedom of movement. I'm just going to be real with you. They get me, I'm kicking and screaming the whole time, okay? I take my hat off to you, Frank, because it's guys like you, and I got a buddy of mine that rap goes by the name of Seven the General, and I listen to guys like Kevin Gates. And absolutely right, brother. One day is too many. I listen to guys like Kevin Gates, and Kevin Gates has a line, and he said, 2-time convicted felon, dumb shit, get at me. And I'm like, yo, what does that even mean at first? But to me, what it meant to me, like, yo, I'm a 2-time convicted felon for doing dumb shit. And I'm still out here with BWA, Breadwinners Association, which is his label, his group. I'm still out here with my wife and my kids. So the thing that's about being a felon, don't let nobody make you fearful because you have a felony that you can't live life freely. We live in a society and in a country that when you have a felony, you can't get a job at Burger King in the wrong neighborhood. You can't live in Austin, Texas. You might not get a place in Steiner Ranch. If you live in Houston, you might not get a place in the Woodlands. You might not get a job at the high-end restaurants or the high-end hotels or the high-end tech firm. You can't get a job when you get a felony, but you can start a business. You can't get a job when you get a felony, but you can start a business. So, and I know you can, Frank, you can get a job at most places, but here's the thing that I'm talking about. If you believe in yourself and you don't fear what they tell you, the business is better than the job. The business of knowing who you are is better than having a job for someone to tell you what you're supposed to do and who you are. Like, I salute the guys that's been locked down. I salute the guys that's been in the military. The only difference between you, me, and anyone else is a split-second decision. That's it. It's a split-second decision. So to do 120 months in federal prison and then to come home and still have perspective about life and how you can change your life, talk about facing your fears. Some people get out and they stay stuck in that mentality about the system holding me down. No offense to anybody that's been broken or beaten down by the system, but yo, the system is not your enemy. We are our own enemies. We fear ourselves so we don't have the freedom. We fear ourselves so we don't have the freedom to live life on our terms. How does that doesn't even add up. That doesn't even make sense. Our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we're powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness. Absolutely. Absolutely, Frank. We are being distracted from our true problems and issues as men and as a man. Absolutely. Society wants you to look at everyone else and look at everyone and look at everything else. But to me, it's always the internal. It's never the external. If we stop pointing a finger at other individuals and we do as Michael Jackson said, and we start looking at the man in the mirror and asking him to change his ways, then that's when your life really changes. I'm not thinking about what society want me to see, what they distracted me from. I was in the military. I did 15 years in the Army National Guard, between National Guard and active duty. So I know everything that they show me on TV isn't always accurate. It's all smoke and mirrors. So if you show me the World Trade Centers got knocked down, and believe whatever you want to believe about that, I'm not getting on that rant. But if you show me this over here, what's happening in the back door? What's happening on the backside? Your fears stop you from having the freedom that you want to have. Your fears stops you from your children living a life that they want to live. Your fears, not my fears, your fears. I just went back on there, went off. Your fears, they block your blessings. But when you begin to tell yourself, this is my mind, I control my thoughts, your life truly changes. Fear for me stands for face everything and rise. I don't care how difficult it is. I don't care how trying it is. I don't care if people laugh at me. I don't care if people laugh at you. You must face everything and rise in order to get the freedom of life that you say you want. Please share this video. Go to YouTube, Ethan J at Mr. P.I.E.N 77. Subscribe to my channel. Like this video. Share this video. You can follow me on Instagram at Mr. P.I.E.N 77. Every Saturday, I'm facing my fears and I'm getting on this camera because I'm truly freeing myself up. And I'm going to help to free someone else. Words have power. The words that you speak over your life or the words that you speak into your life will give you the life that you are living. It's been real. It's been another soulful Saturday, another spontaneous Saturday, another super Saturday, another terrific Saturday. Thank you for tuning in to Expression Sessions, where we talked about fear and we talked about freedom. And we talked about how to get over your fears by J.B. Wine, Just Being You, by AYGN, Activating Your Greatness, by showing up to blow up. Continue to show up. We'll be here next Saturday. It's been real. It's me again, Ethan Smith, a.k.a. Mr. P.I.E.N.
Show up to blow up.
I can't close out now. I got to answer to Frank. I won't get married because of fear of losing that woman or vice versa. But a wise man once laughed and said, don't sell yourself short behind that fear. Frank, get married, man. I mean, yeah, Frank, get married. I never wanted to get married or I never wanted to have kids, Frank. I've been married 3 times. I have 5 beautiful children by 3 different women. And I had a fear of losing my wife too. And I did lose my wife, Frank. And I'm going to tell you why I lost my wife, my first wife. Because I said I would. I used to tell myself by the time I'm 50, I'll be divorced. And I made decisions. And I made choices. And I did things that I knew that that woman wouldn't approve of. Hell, as a man, I didn't approve of. I made decisions, and I realized that I couldn't control that woman. But if I be the best version of me in this relationship, then all I can hope for is the best version of her. Marriage is a beautiful thing, just like a relationship is a beautiful thing. And I'm not saying that marriage is the only way. You have to run your race at your own pace. But I'm telling you this. I want to give you some counsel from a man that's been married. I don't want to give you advice. I want to give you some counsel. Marriage is a beautiful thing when it's two people want the marriage to work. When two people want the marriage to work, then marriage can be a beautiful thing. In order to know if you want it to work or not, you have to know who you are. You have to know what you bring to the table. And if you know that you bringing nothing but accurate, transparent truth to the table, then my friend, you have the right to accept nothing but only accurate, true expressions and transparency in a relationship. Marriage can be a beautiful thing. Frank, you seem like you're a good dude. Anybody to get on here and you talk about your time locked up and your thoughts and your passions and your purpose, man, to me, you have to be a good person with good energy. And if you display that same good energy to your soon-to-be wife, fiance, girlfriend, then, my friend, I'm telling you, you will have a great marriage. You will have a great marriage. But all you can do is just be you, because you are the only person that you can control in your marriage. And we just control ourselves, and we figure out how to love ourselves, how to enjoy ourselves, and explore ourselves. That's when your marriage becomes real. The people that's been married 20, 30 years went through some ups and downs. They had some things that they feared. But how did they get to the freedom of their happy marriage? They kept going against it. They kept going against it. That's absolutely right, man. Don't sell yourself short. Keep going after what you want. Keep going after what you believe in. Salute. Let's continue to live in love. Continue the blessing to you and yours. Thank you for your energy. Also, G, always. Also, G. All right, Frank, man, I really appreciate you engaging with me, man. This is how I really get into it. If you really want to engage me, tune into expression sessions. That's what we doing. We expressing yourself for what you feel. There is no right or wrong statement that you can make with me. I am a non-judgmental person. If I don't like what you say, I tell you I don't like what you say, but I respect it, and I hope that you would do the same for me. This is expression sessions. This is not a politically correct show. This is not a show that's against the LGBT community. This is not against religion. This is not against politics. This isn't against anything. This is the show where you express everything, and we discuss how I am or you are the only one that can change the life that you have into the life that you want. It's been real. It's me, Ethan Smith, a.k.a. Mr. P.I.E.N. I'm out. Show up to blow up. You got to activate your greatness. Man, you got a JBY. Man, you got a JBY. Promote yourself. Sell yourself. Show up to blow up.